All right, let's just jump right in. Trying to predict the future of AI can feel kind of impossible. Why? Because the progress is just moving so much faster than anyone ever expects. Seriously, we're at this wild point where stuff that was just an experiment yesterday is basically becoming the foundation for everything tomorrow. So let's break down what this absolutely breakneck pace means for 2026 and beyond, and how AI is morphing from a simple tool into, well, something else entirely.
I mean, to really get a feel for the speed we're talking about, just look at this. This was the last month of 2025. A new major AI model dropped almost every few days from all the big players. Think about this. More of these top-tier, frontier models, the most powerful AIs out there, were released in these 30 days than in the entire year of 2023. The pace isn't just fast, folks, it's accelerating like crazy. And this quote right here, it absolutely nails the huge shift that's happening. For the past few years, the whole conversation was about capability, right? Can AI write a poem? Can it code a website? But now, the question has totally changed. It's all about autonomy. We're moving away from AI as a tool that just answers our questions to AI as a system that goes out and achieves the goals we give it. That's the big idea we're going to dig in. And look, this shift matters because we're not talking about some niche tech anymore. This is mainstream. In 2025, a whopping 88% of organizations were already using AI. That's up from 78% just the year before. That kind of explosive adoption means these trends we're talking about, they're going to affect pretty much everyone. Okay, so our first big pillar here is all about how AI is getting more capable. For years, the rule was super simple. Bigger is better. Just throw more parameters at it. The knobs and dials in an AI's brain. Give it more data, more computing power. But that's changing. The new way is all about making AI smarter, not just bigger.
And I love this analogy. It explains it perfectly. Think of a traditional AI like a student in an exam who just blurts out the first answer that pops into their head. Super fast? Sure, but on a really hard problem, it's probably going to be wrong. These new reasoning models are totally different. They're like that student who pulls out a piece of scratch paper, works through the problem step by step, checks their own work, and then gives you the final answer. It's that thinking time that is a total game changer.
And that thinking time, that scratch paper idea, in the industry, they call that test time compute. You can see the whole evolution right here. We went from just making models bigger and bigger to finding the right balance of size and data, and now to this crucial new idea. Just let the model think longer to solve harder problems. The whole focus has shifted from ridiculously expensive training to making the model's actual process of coming up with an answer, that's called inference, way more powerful and efficient. It's about thinking smarter, not just training bigger. So why should you care? What does this actually mean for you in 2026? Well, because of this shift, we're going to see smaller, more specialized AIs that can actually run circles around the giant models on specific tasks. We're going to see unbelievably powerful AI running right on your phone, not just on some server in the cloud. And maybe most importantly, an AI's ability to reason and solve really complex problems is about to take another huge leap forward, all while the cost of using it keeps going down. All right, now for our second pillar, and you can see how this all starts to build. Honestly, if I had to place a bet on the single most transformative AI trend for 2026, it would be this: the rise of agents. This is where AI stops being a passive assistant and becomes an active, autonomous worker for you. And this timeline is it's wild how fast this is all happening. In 2022, we had basic chatbots. That quickly turned into assistants and copilots that could, suggest what you should do next. But the real jump, the big one, was in 2025 with true agents, AI that actually takes action for you. And looking ahead to 2026, we're talking about entire teams of specialized agents working together on complicated projects. The speed here is just incredible. So, what even is an agent? Let's be clear. A chatbot gives you information. A copilot suggests what you should do. An agent? An agent is completely different. You give it a goal, say, plan my team's offsite trip to Austin, and it just goes and does it. It works on its own, using tools like a web browser or booking apps to actually get the job done. This is not a fancy autocomplete. This is a digital worker. Okay, but for these agents to actually work, they have to be able to connect to all the tools and apps that we use. And that creates a massive problem. Just imagine for a second if every single app on your phone needed its own special, unique charger. It would be an absolute nightmare, right? Well, that's kind of what the world of AI tools looked like, a total mess. And the solution that's emerging is a new open standard called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. To put it really simply, MCP is the USB-C for AI. It is one universal standard that lets any agent plug into any tool. It solves this huge integration headache that was holding everything back. And get this isn't just some idea on a whiteboard. By the end of 2025, there were already over 10,000 of these MCP servers active. That kind of rapid adoption tells you that this universal standard is becoming a reality, and it's paving the way for a massive explosion in what these agents can do. Okay, so we've got smarter AI, and we've got autonomous agents that can act in the digital world. The third massive pillar here is how all this intelligence is now breaking out of the screen. AI is getting senses, like sight and sound, and it is starting to inhabit physical bodies. This right here shows the fundamental difference. A traditional robot, the kind you see in a factory, is programmed to follow exact rigid instructions like move arm 30 degrees. If a box is slightly out of place, the whole thing just fails. But a physical AI, which is powered by a language model, understands a goal in plain English, like, hey, put that cup in the dishwasher. It then figures out all the steps itself and can adapt to the real messy world. And please, don't think this is science fiction. The race to build and deploy humanoid robots is already happening. Figure AI's robots are being put to work in BMW factories. Tesla is piloting its Optimus robot in its own plants, and Agility Robotics is testing its robots in Amazon warehouses. This is real, and it's happening right now. And whenever you see this much money pouring in, you know it's serious. The market just for humanoid robots is expected to hit $38 billion by 2035. The wider physical AI market, nearly $80 billion by 2030. That is a massive amount of investment, and that's the fuel that is driving this technology forward at an incredible rate. So, you put all of this together, smarter reasoning, autonomous agents, and now physical bodies. And it leads to the biggest questions of all. Where is this road actually heading? Let's talk about the big one, artificial general intelligence, and what it all means for you. Yeah, the elephant in the room is AGI, artificial general intelligence. That's the point where an AI can match or even exceed human intelligence at pretty much everything. And if you look at the predictions from the people actually building this stuff, the timelines are getting shorter and shorter. The leaders of Anthropic, DeepMind, and OpenAI are all pointing to the late 2020s. But maybe focusing on an exact date is the wrong way to think about it. A better question might be, what would AGI even look like when it gets here? It probably won't be some big, dramatic, flip-a-switch moment. It's much more likely to be a gradual process of crossing different thresholds, like an AI making a major scientific discovery on its own, or a system that can genuinely start to improve itself. So with all this incredible change coming, what should you do? The most important thing is to engage with it. Don't just be a spectator. Get your hands dirty. Experiment with the new tools and agents as they're released. Build real skills so you understand what they can't do, not just what they can. Find a few good sources to stay informed, and really start thinking strategically. How can this technology make what you do better? And of course, always think about the ethics of the tools you're using. Because when you get right down to it, the capabilities we're going to see by the end of 2026 will make today feel like ancient history. But this future isn't written in stone. It's being built right now by everyone involved. So the real question isn't just what AI is going to do next, it's how are you going to be part of that story?